What is going on, my fellow Kino Lords? So tonight I'm going to be reviewing a film that I feel like I've been looking forward to for 2 or more years now, and that film is obviously from the title Mickey 17, which is written and directed by the man himself, Bong Joon Ho. I've made two separate most anticipated films of the year list over the past 2 years, and Mickey 17 has been on both of those lists and did not appear in the year that was supposed to be on those lists. This film just got delayed after being delayed after being delayed again, and I was just like, okay, God knows whenever this film's gonna fucking come out. But you know, I stayed patient, as we all had to, and I knew that this was a film that, like, Bong Joon Ho was just kind of just gonna do whatever the fuck he wanted, because this was after his insane international success of Parasite, to where I'm sure like investors are just throwing a bunch of money at him to make whatever he wants. So, you know, I still kept intrigued. I still kept patient. Because Bong Joon Ho, like, I mean, what can I say that already hasn't been said? Like, he is considered to be one of the best contemporary filmmakers that we have today. And some people would say the best contemporary filmmaker that we do have. And honestly, I don't even bother arguing with those people, because I think they would have a very valid point. I mean, all of his Korean films are fucking fantastic. Mother, which is to me an absolute personal favorite of mine, which I know is kind of a hot take, but I absolutely love that movie to death. Memories of Murder, another masterpiece. Parasite, up there on the same level. Even like Barking Dogs Never Bite, one of his, I think it's actually his first feature film, if I'm not mistaken. I actually think that's a really great film as well. It's really his American movies that I think people feel more divided on. You know, films like Snowpiercer, films like Okja. I mean, personally, like, I dig Snowpiercer. I'm not like the biggest fan of it, but I dig it. Okja, I actually really think is a great movie. Again, another hot take. I know that movie is divisive, but I really did like Okja quite a bit. And now you have Mickey 17. And, you know, even though I was really looking forward to this movie, the fact that it was a combination of the fact that the trailer didn't quite sell me, because of the fact that I feel like it was tackling sci-fi concepts that have been done over and over again. Like, again, like the whole concept of like live, die, repeat thing, and then the whole concept of clones and multiples. Like, we've seen that so many times in sci-fi movies, so I just felt like, what are you exactly gonna do that's gonna make this different from other movies that I've seen of this nature? But you know, I still stayed excited, because it's Bong Joon Ho and I trust that guy like a lot, obviously, as I should. And now that it's finally here and I finally get to talk to you about it, let me just say this. I think Mickey 17 has an absolutely phenomenal first act. I think the setup to this movie is like 10 out of 10 masterclass work, and how you introduce a movie and how you present a world and world build. Like, I have absolutely zero complaints on how this film set itself up. Like, the first 30 minutes or so of this movie, I was like, damn, this film is phenomenal in every way. I think that in every single aspect of filmmaking, I'm absolutely impressed. Like, in terms of the way that this film introduces its characters, the way that this film establishes its characters, like, in and out, the way that establishes character dynamics, the way that established its romance, the way that, again, like, this film was able to build its world and withhold information from the audience. I was like, everything about this is just so fucking phenomenal, and I loved every second of it. And it really wasn't until the concept of multiples got introduced into the plot, where we get Mickey 17 and Mickey 18. Like, once that whole element of the film occurred, that's when the film, in my opinion, started declining in quality. Not that this film was ever bad in any way, but it just started becoming, in my opinion, more of the same of what we would see in these kind of sci-fi movies. It started spending a lot of time in these areas, especially with like women characters and love interests and the whole like two Mickeys thing. I started spending a lot of time in that arena for reasons I still don't quite understand. And then as it progresses into the third act of the movie, it starts becoming like incredibly predictable with where it's going, and it doesn't really do much to subvert your expectations at all. And the only thing that really kept me going in this movie after that point was the fact that it was still like, you know, cleverly humorous and still entertaining. You know, I still like enjoyed seeing the characters, you know, being themselves and doing their thing on screen. But in terms of like plot and narrative investment and being emotionally connected to the material, I was pretty underwhelmed by it. The film that I would actually compare this the most to would probably be Okja in terms of what's in Bong Joon Ho's filmography. It feels very similar in terms of like this like humanitarian theme that it has in regards to animals and our relationship with them. And also in terms of having these incredibly like satirical and cartoony villains in the movie. You know, you have Mark Ruffalo's character, who, by the way, like, he's fucking hilarious. Like, there's no point in this movie where I don't find him funny. Like, Mark Ruffalo is so good at acting like a complete goober, and he's just so funny in this movie. I think he's awesome. His character, like, satirically reminded me a lot of like a weird combination of Trump and Elon Musk, and it was just really funny. Toni Collette, you know, very similar, also quite funny with what she's doing. But, you know, it was really like the entertainment factor that was kind of keeping me invested rather than anything thematic or anything interesting going on with the plot. And it never really picked up after that. And, you know, for that reason, I did walk away from the film feeling a bit disappointed by it. I mean, I would actually say, which I know is a hot take, but I actually would say I liked Okja better than this movie, because I felt a lot more emotionally attached to the material. I remember when watching Okja, like, I actually shed tears for that movie. And this movie, really nothing. I mean, there's some moments where you feel stuff, but, like, it's nowhere near what I felt with a film like Okja. And yeah, like, I don't know, like, and it also gets to a point in the third act where the narrative starts progressing in this very, like, sloppy way. Like, things just start to not make any sense in terms of character decisions as to why, like, these villain characters wouldn't do what they should be doing, and instead, like, it's almost like we have to rely on their sheer stupidity for the reason why the plot is moving forward. And it just felt like, I don't know, to me it just felt really sloppy. Like, things didn't feel nearly as tight and as calculated and as smart and as well written as what we saw in the first act of this movie. The third act, it just felt like almost like Bong Joon Ho didn't really know exactly how to make things make sense and feel reasonable, so we just had to just go along with whatever happens in this third act. But personally, I don't know, I was really underwhelmed by it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot that I appreciate. Again, I think throughout the film, I find it entertaining, and I think that the satire in it, whether it be about, like, political corruption, which is a huge fucking thing in this movie, or even, like, religious corruption and how, like, religion, state, and business is like this corruption trifecta that is beautifully displayed in the movie. But I don't know, just overall, I don't know. I feel like also the ending plays it safe too, and this, like, it doesn't take the risks that I would want it to take either. Like, it just kind of plays it really safe in the end, and it feels way too, like, bow tie, happy-go-lucky. And I don't know. I feel like maybe it was just because it set itself up so incredibly well that I expected to keep up that pace throughout the movie, and I feel like it didn't really do that. But I mean, like, Robert Pattinson is fucking fantastic in this movie. He gives an excellent performance. Everybody in this movie gives a really good performance. Steven Yeun is really fucking good. As I mentioned, Mark Ruffalo, just hilarious in this movie. I mean, every time he was on screen, it was hard just not to smile or laugh. Toni Collette, fantastic. And again, like, the world building and the way that he's able to bring a lot of his sci-fi concepts to life, I think, is very impressive. It's just, I don't know. I feel like this movie could have been a lot more than what it was, and it kind of regresses into more of the same, unfortunately. So I think that's honestly probably all I'll say about Mickey 17 right now. So I'll just to go ahead and give a rating, I'll give Mickey 17 a soft 7 out of 10. I'm telling you, like in that first act, I thought I was gonna be absolutely in love with this movie. It was gonna be like one of my favorite Bong Joon Ho movies. But I feel like it's kind of going, it's down there, you know, as you know, kind of fitting into that cliche of his American movies not being as good as his Korean movies. It's unfortunately that cliche and that standard for him is living up with this movie. But yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion on the movie. That was my take. Really curious to hear what you guys think about this movie. I have no idea where people are landing on this. Really curious to hear about where everybody's landing. And if you disagree, let me know. That'd be awesome. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Yeah, overall, I would love to hear your thoughts. So if you really enjoyed my review, please give this video a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.